G'day guys and welcome to the Bradley J Driver Experience. I'm your host Bradley Driver. As always you can call me Brad. Today I'm here with a special guest that I've been really keen to have on. I've been looking forward to this episode. This man right here is what you would say, I guess, the voice of the Illawarra, known for having a very charitable and good heart and doing a lot of stuff which we're going to talk about later too. But Mr. Marty Haynes from I98 FM. How are you, mate?
Hello, Brad. Yes, thanks for having us along.
I appreciate you coming.
Anytime.
It's funny, when I was talking about people that I wanted to have on the show, obviously we're sitting here and presenting, so the idea of having someone like yourself who for so long now has been, in my books, and I guess the community's books from what I hear, the top presenter on radio in the area. I remember being a kid and driving in the car and listening to I98 and hearing your voice. So
you make me feel old, Brad. I feel old. Well, 18 years. It's been 18 years.
So 18 years.
18 years here in the Illawarra, in Wollongong, at I98, yeah.
Wow. There's so many things I want to cover today, but I guess with every guest I have on, I like to hear, I think stories are powerful, and I always say the idea of this podcast is conversation is powerful.
Correct.
It can change people's lives for the better. I'd love to hear your story and tell us, did you grow up in the area and how you found yourself in a radio eventually?
Well, I didn't actually grow up here. I grew up in the western suburbs of Sydney, a place called Dundas, in Dundas Valley. A very housing commission, it was similar to what we got here, like a Berkeley or a Warrawong.
Yeah, I was a Berkeley boy. So.
Yeah. So, but I'm very humbled by that and very proud of where I grew up. I only took my kids. I got a 20-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old son. It was only about 2 years ago I took them actually to where I grew up. They had seen it in previous years, but they probably didn't register.
Yeah.
But we were driving past and going up the coast, and I went that way, and which you can go, Silverwater Road, and eventually get up onto the Pacific Highway. But I said, I'm going to show you where I grew up, and they were both really shocked.
Yeah.
They're like, you grew up here? And I said, I didn't know anything better, but I built great friendships, and it taught me life lessons. And
100%.
I'm very lucky that I look back now and think, everything that I've got, everything I've had to work for, I've had to do it myself. I never had a wealthy mum or dad.
Yeah.
I grew up with I'm the youngest of three. I've got a brother who's 7 years older than me and a sister who's 5 years older than me. And we're still very tight-knit.
Yeah.
We're still very close. We live our own different lives, but on our own different ways. But that's where I grew up for the first, say, 27 years.
I'm a massive Gary... Do you know Gary V?
Gary V?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
No.
Massive media, he's a bit of a media mogul, he's all digital, social, super interesting guy, he's really great to follow, and comes from an immigrant family that were living in New Jersey, and he was brought up there. His dad owned a liquor store, and they had nothing, and he worked for his dad for the first 34 years, got a wage, but left that business with no equity in it, and started his own thing, and he talks about all the time, and it's funny what you said there. I was blessed. I had an amazing childhood. My family, we were never spoiled, but anything we ever needed was given to us. We always looked after. We played sport. We went away. Just an amazing childhood, my sister and I. But Gary talks about sometimes if you're brought up with money, it's hard to go back and learn how to hustle yourself because when you go from in the riches to then being in the dirt and having to grow and learn yourself, it's hard. Yeah,
it is hard, and I think you learn to get every dollar and every cent, and you value that. I was lucky. I wasn't so much. We didn't come from a rich family, not at all, but we came from a family that was rich in love. I had troubles with my dad growing up. My dad was a great sportsman. He played with South Sydney.
Oh wow!
He was well known in the football thing, but he had a love. He changed in his later years, but the early years he loved the pub. He was that old school. They drank every afternoon at the pub. They drank every Saturday at the pub, and and that's one reason why I'm not a big drinker. It's because of that. Because I missed out on a lot of that. I just wanted my dad to come watch me play footy.
Yeah.
But it was very rare. He was always at the pub, and we really grew up under mum, and I still to this day. They've both passed on now, but. To this day, just the strength of her, and it was back in those days where they stuck, she stuck by him. Yeah. And quite often we would say as a family, Mum, leave him. You need a better life. But he in his later years, He changed a lot. I think my wife, Kylie, changed him a lot to value family values and what he was missing out on.
Yeah.
You know, my brother lives at home at early 17 and gone. He was taken off. My sister, the same. And you know, but in the later years, I ended up loving him.
Yeah.
You know, I was appreciative. I learned a lot from that. I took a lot away from that, where I went, when I have my kids, I'm going to give them as much time. And I was lucky because of the position I was holding, doing the shift work, doing early mornings. I could do a lot with them in the afternoon. A lot of mums and dads can't do that, but I was very lucky I could. And I always said I'd always be there for their, you know, the first day of school, all that sort of stuff. Their dancing, football. Yeah, it is important. And, you know, like you with your, you know, your mum and dad, you've got a close relationship.
100%.
And I think I like that. Even though you're their parent, I'm also their friend and their confidant, I suppose, if they've got a problem. And I've always said to my young bloke, only recently we were talking about, you know, how they think a lot these days. I said, you don't have to come to me, but go to someone who you can talk to, because you feel better.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to lay your problem on me. I'd be honoured if you did, but I understand.
Yeah.
But if you know, and today I look back at growing up in Dundas Valley and Dundas, and you know, a lot of great people came out of there, and I'm very proud of where I come from. I'm very proud of where I live now. You know, it is part of my identity. I look at helping others because that's just how it was. You know, I only walked into my house not long ago, talking to my kids, and I said, you know, you guys are very lucky because everything that you're in this house, you'll get. I said, see the 2 chairs over in that corner, that's all I got from my mum and dad. I didn't get any financial help. You know, they didn't have anything. They lived in a unit in Sydney that I owned. Yeah. So, you know, when they passed, I ended up selling it. But they're lucky. I mean, you know,
100%.
We've all had to work for what we got.
You know, I say to my parents all the time that I would never, for me, it's not about the money or the experiences. Whenever I look back on my childhood, regardless of what their schedules were, they were always at the footy games. They were always there at the school assemblies when you were getting an award. There was always time given, and that's the best thing ever. You don't remember the gifts. No, you don't remember what you got for your 9th birthday or your 10th birthday.
No, true, Brad.
You just remember them being there on those memorable moments. So I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's just, you appreciate your life growing up, and it makes you who you are. Yeah. I guess it's an amazing example.
And I've been very lucky, especially living in this town. To meet a lot of people that have had great success, but they don't show the success. And I've really learned a lot from that. You just go, wow. You know, and admire those that have just had a go. Yeah, and the whole thing is just having a go. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't. But, you know, and I found that, say, with Convoy, with a lot of people that have helped me with Convoy, behind the scenes, you look at them and you think, wow, they're wealthy. But they don't ever...
Not there to flaunt it.
Oh, no, they're the opposite. Yeah. You know, they don't drive the flashiest car. But you look at them and you think, wow, you've just had a go. I've learned a lot from that. Definitely. Particularly in the last, say, 10, 15 years. It's been a bit of a great lesson. Yeah. A great lesson to have.
Amazing segue there. You just mentioned Convoy. It's something I wanted to chat about today. I love charity and charitable causes because, like we said, not everyone's as fortunate, whether that be money or health, as we are. And Convoy is something that I think if you say Camp Quality or you say Convoy, people know straight away in the Illawarra what that means to the community. For you, what does it mean? And tell us how that began, because you've been a huge part of that now. Yeah,
just one of many, I suppose. I look at it. It started back when I was working and doing a breakfast program in Canberra, doing Brekkie Radio, and a little boy called Ryan Scaines, he was probably about 3 or 4, I think. He rang me one day on the radio and asked me would I ride a horse from Queanbeyan into Canberra, and that was probably like, say, Shell Harbour into Wollongong or Thurul into Wollongong. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. And I was with the New South Wales Police Force. They were going to do it. I said, yeah, I'll do that. And it was for a charity down there called ACT Eden Monero Cancer Support Group. And there's one lady, her name is Yvonne Kushkiri, she had set up in the backyard in a garage to help those that had kids with cancer make their lives a little bit better, paying bills and pharmacy bills and all that sort of stuff. So they do all these barbecues, and So I thought, okay, I'll help. But when I met this little boy, I thought he just had a love of trucks and bikes. And I thought, how can I help this organisation, this little organisation, and help little Ryan? So I knew a couple of the trucking guys, and I just said, if we put a couple of trucks together, would you reckon ran from Canberra across to Queanbeyan, and you had to pay to enter a truck or a bike, and that's how it started. And I met this little boy Ryan, and I became very close to him because at that stage Kylie Ann and I had no children. Yeah. And Ryan was told he had a cancer of the nervous system, and it came back to get him again, and eventually it did. His doctor said that he wouldn't survive to the age of 7. Well, he beat that and he passed away a week later. So he got through that little challenge. And great kid, and he had a massive effect on me. He still does to the day.
Yeah, of course.
Still have a photograph of him that was only taken about 3 weeks prior to his death, and of me and him and Kylie. And it's still on my bedside table, and my kids know, what Ryan was about. For me, I'm not a massive believer, but I do believe that his soul went to my daughter. Yeah. Somehow, I don't know, just the
way the universe works, right?
I suppose, yeah. I've got a great relationship with both my kids, but when I look at that, and then Convoy worked fairly well, and still does to the day, still runs in Canberra. But when I got the chance to come and work at the Wind Network for I-98, it took me 2 years. I used to sit at the top of Mount Ousley sometimes thinking, how many trucks? There's a lot of trucks here. Yeah. I never told anyone my plan, but my plan was to help. I thought I could do this here for Ryan's legacy and other kids in the area. Yeah. And then I approached Ann Tanks, who was the manager for Camp Quality at the stage, Camp Quality Illawarra, and I said to her, listen, I've got this idea about a truck convoy with bikes, and she thought I was mad. I said, if we can raise 20,000, that'd be great. Would 20,000 be fine? She went, fantastic. And then I started to speak to a couple of people that came on board, and I went to the radio station. I was working with Erica Hodge at that stage, Eck.
That's the first duo I can remember.
Yeah, a great girl actually, and still very close to me. And she jumped on board and went, yep, let's do this. And that's how it really started here. And I had a help of another guy called Norm Reese, who is one of the big bosses of the New South Wales ambulance service here, Norm. And Norm came on board as a helper, and he's been with us for a long, long time. He's stepped back a little bit now because it's just become such a juggernaut. And he did his bit. He did a lot for us. So, and then I started asking a few of the truck drivers. So we started off with 208 trucks, and then 101 motorbikes. That was the first year in 2005. We raised 52,000. We thought, we got something here. This is going to work. I think this will work. And then it's grown to last year in 15 years, levels. 16.1 million. Wow. And we changed direction too. We moved away from Camp Quality. Camp Quality did a great job and still do. But the whole focus was when we raised the money stayed here in our community to help our kids. Yeah. And I said this to Camp Quality, if you set it up all around Australia, it'll work everywhere. But if I'm saying to you, you're giving me $5 or 100,000, and you want to help someone who's very local because you relate to them.
And you, in a place like Wollongong, such a small city or town, you'd even call it. Everyone knows everyone.
Exactly right. And then my wife actually said to me, you should make a foundation where you have full control of where the money goes. So I sat down with the CEO and a couple of the trucking guys, the CEO of the Wind Network, and said, how about if we went to a foundation? So we ended up calling it the Illawarra Community Foundation, where we have control of where the money goes. We still look after Camp Quality here in the Illawarra, and then we'll be able to submit and bring out the funds to those that are in need. And so we went to Camp Quality and we did an audit to find out how much they actually would spend here. Yeah. And then eventually they didn't want to do it that way. I suppose they're trying to raise money too for someone in Brisbane and Perth, and we just said, well, we'll still look after you, but if you want to choose to walk away, that's fine, and which they did. And wish them all the best. And then we've been able to do what we do here because we're spending it on our local community. Yeah, we've pumped 1.2 million recently into the children's ward, which was back in its day 20 years ago. Yeah, was a big thing to make it new, and it did, and then, well, it's become old.
Yeah.
It's, we've got more kids that live in our region.
100%.
So we've paid for, the Ronald McDonald House. We paid for that.
Yeah.
We paid for that to be built, the kitchen, everything done to help the parents, and then all sorts of things and that'll hopefully keep on going over the next few years. If it succeeds, I think it still will.
I think it will. It's the thing that shocks me about it every year is how it just continues to grow, not just in the numbers that are raised for charity or the amount of trucks, but to see how engaged the community is in an event. I don't think there's an event, and dare I say, I don't think there's ever been an event locally that the whole community has gotten around as much as they've gotten around Convoy.
Oh, yeah, and you're right, Brad. I mean, you look at it and it blows me away. We pay one wage out of the whole system. Only one person is actually paid to run Convoy, and Mark does a great job. And the rest of us are all volunteers. So, we've got our office down at Albion Park Rail on the highway. Well, someone owns that building, gives it to us. That could be rented out.
Yeah.
That's a building, that's a business. But no, that's your office. So we go in, and then everyone that works in there are all volunteers. That's what I love about it. But they do it because they know they're making a difference. Whether they do 1 hour a week to... Some of them are there all the time. They just go in there because it's a great environment. Everyone's in a good mood. Everyone knows that whatever we're raising money for is actually going back into our community to help. Like we even paid for the cancer carers recently. Yeah. Gave them a big funding money for them to drive around in a car to pick up a cancer patient to take them to hospital. Because not everyone,
has transport.
If there's you're a couple. One of them has to go to work while the other one's sick. So we can help that by alleviating that bit of pain, 100%. Whether we can take the patient to, which they do, but they need funding. So we can fund that.
Yeah.
And just little things.
I think you just touched on it there, the energy that everyone has in that office. Yeah, we were talking about it just before we kicked off the show. The 2 weeks that I spent in hospital last year, I'm very healthy. I've got some minor issues that I overcome. They're fine. It's almost two of the most appreciative weeks of my life every time I go into hospital, because the perspective is huge. You meet these kids, and I still remember there's one kid I'll never forget. I was 9 years old, I think, 10 years old, in Sydney Children's Hospital, and he had leukemia, and his name was Krishnan. And I still remember his family weren't able to be around much, so my parents used to feed him and make sure he was looked after, and we used to hang out in the hospital. And he was the most happy, energetic kid, despite everything that was going wrong in his life. And there's so many of them like that.
Oh, heaps.
It blows my mind how at that age you can be so tested and still wake up with a smile on your face. Like, it's so inspiring.
And you're right. We have so many families that are like that. Some of them want to be very quiet and don't want any hoo-ha around funding, and we fully appreciate that. And others are great. They come out and tell their story. Like, you and I have discussed, everyone's got a story. And, there's one particular girl that's been with us since Camp Quality days and still with us, Keely Payne. Now, Keely's... in 23, 24, she's had 35 operations on her brain, on her brain. She's lost a sight. But whenever you speak to Keely, you'll say, "Oh, hi, Keels, how are you?" "Oh, I'm great, Marty. How are you?" And you're thinking, wow, she's got this great, positive...
It's infectious, isn't
energy. It is infectious. And that's what happens when you go into that convoy office. And, it drove a lot of people. We were sad that we lost one of our volunteers late last year. She had breast cancer, and Danielle was 39 with two kids, two little boys, 1 8 and 1 6. But she gave her bit for Convoy because she knew just what she did. She did a lot of the data. She looked after the data side, bringing our trucks, registering. She'd sit in a room in a computer. She was sick, but she just did it because she knew she was making a difference. Yeah. And it was like, and when she passed, it was, I told, we had a bit of a volunteers, the real tight group. I pulled them together and told them that Danielle had passed. They were all gutted. But with Convoy, we were able to pay for that funeral. And we've paid for quite a few funerals for the sick kids. And, we wanted to do that as well, to say thank you to Danielle and
of course.
look after a husband and her 2 boys. And that's just one of the many stories that make you turn up and do it. Like the lead up to Convoy, I never had a day off in 10 weeks. I worked every day for 10 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And that was all Convoy. So I'd get up at 4 in the morning and I'd be home at 7:30 at night nearly every day. So I'd leave work at 10 o'clock, go to the Convoy office, stay there, do all the running around that we needed to do, and then finish, because I thought the volunteers there, I've got to be there.
Yeah, of course.
They're helping.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'd do that. And then Saturdays we'd be open Sundays. But I did it because I always walked out of there smiling, and I just knew that my mum and dad, who were up there somewhere, would be very proud of me doing that.
100%.
And it also teaches my kids. That's one of the big things when I got my Order of Australia medal, I went to Government House. And it's probably one thing I felt really guilty about. I could only invite 3 people. One, I wanted to invite my mum, but I couldn't because I wanted my 2 kids there, and Kylie, my wife, of course, and I wanted my 2 kids there because I wanted my 2 kids to get something out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't care what. I just wanted them to get something out of it. But I just want to teach them to say, well, give back. It's not all about you. It's just
100%.
give if you can. It can be something very small, but just to help someone.
Yeah.
Always, you get a lot out of it. You don't.
You do.
Not for a monetary thing, as you said before. It's not about a monetary thing. It's what you experience, and they do get a lot out of it. I even know more so now. They look
as they get older as well. Like,
they start to
appreciate it more.
They do appreciate it. You don't need to have the best and flashiest car or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're all same. Like we're
100%.
all the same in a way. We've just got our own little glitches in life, and Convoy is such a great thing in the township. The whole area has just grabbed it and they believe in it, and I think that's why it's been such a success.
Definitely.
And without the community, without volunteers and the help of everyone that donates, doesn't matter. I said $2 into a bucket that's got Convoy written on it to 500,000 we saw for lead truck. Like that's just we're all coming together as one. It sure does.
It's very similar with the bushfires.
Yep.
The way that's the one thing that for all the differences in opinions we can have, the differences in what government you follow or what you love or what you believe in or whatever it is. The one thing I love about the Illawarra and about Australia as a whole, when it all goes to shit, everyone comes together.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, and we know that you notice that with that, and especially in this town. This town, they
so generous.
Yeah, they are. Everyone loves to help, and you get something out of it. I hope people get something out of it. I mean, it'll come a day where, I certainly said 2 years ago, that's it for me. No more. I've had enough. But then one of my real close mates, who's part of the team, he just said, "How can we not? How can we not do it?" And you think, I know. And when you drive down that mountain, you see the amount of people on the side of the street, and you just think, this is great. I get a kick out of
definitely
doing it. It's worth doing it.
Yeah.
And you think, I've got nothing to worry about. There's others out there we're helping that, they've got problems, and we can help them. And this is a great show of a community spirit to come together and do what we do on that third Sunday every year in November 15th this year. Just thought I'd tell you.
100%. I was actually going to ask at the end of the show, so I'm glad you said it. That's amazing. And I want to go back to radio. So tell me, like I said, it's been a while now that you've been on the radio. And
I never started off in radio.
That's what I was going to ask.
Because I left school in year 10 and did a cinematography course because I wanted to be a cameraman, which I did. I completed and did. And then I worked at Channel 9 for about 12 years as a cameraman.
Okay.
Did everything from 60 Minutes to Current Affair to Wild World of Sport to Today's Show to whatever you did. And then I went and worked for Graham Kennedy for 2 years, the king of TV. Okay. I went and worked for him for 2 years, which was a great lesson. Again, another man who was very, very wealthy, but never showed it. I learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah, you do.
Off him, because I had a big fallout with my dad over the alcohol, and I never spoke to my dad for a long, long time, and he made me go back and repair that friendship.
You'd appreciate that, right?
And I was like, I still to the day, thank him for what he was. And even though he was, the king of TV, he was away from the camera. He just didn't want to be known, didn't want to be recognised.
Yeah.
I learnt a lot from that too, just watching him. I was lucky enough to work with some of the biggest names in TV and watch how they handled it. Some handled it very gracefully and very good, and I really liked that how they did it.
Yeah.
Others, of course, they loved the limelight and they loved and some people love it, some people don't. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you. I just like to be. I'm Marty. I live at Bulli. This is just a job. To me, it's a job.
Life
and then I ended up. So I used to do a fair few character voices at night, just mucking around. And then I met a guy called Mike Hammond, who's on 2WS at Sydney at the moment, but he was at Today FM.
Yeah.
And then I'd love to go and have a look at radio. So I went in and did one of the character voices, and then that's where it started. I used to go and do it once a week, this character voice. And then that's how, I started doing a little bit at Today FM. And then I thought, I want a bit of a change. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
I couldn't go any further with my camera career. I could still do it. But, I was at the highest level, and
exactly,
because you're all graded. And so I was a senior cameraman when I left, and I thought, I'll go and do something else. And I'll freelance, and I did that for a long time. So I'd work on weekends doing my camera shoots, whether it was a TV commercial or whatever it was, or doing stuff back for 9 for Wild Water Sport, cricket, whatever, football. And then I ended up working at Today for full-time then, and then I ended up in Canberra doing breakfast radio, and then I came here. They offered me a job. They were looking for me and Erica to come to Wollongong. So I came up first because Erica had 6 months left on a contract.
So she was with you at Canberra?
Yeah, we're together 4 years there, I think.
Okay, cool.
And then I came up and she just wanted a total change from radio, so she moved away, still in the game but in the background. She's big boss of the number one station in Perth now, but she just had enough. She just didn't want to be on the face.
Yeah.
She just didn't want to do it. It doesn't bother me. I don't really care. If someone doesn't like you, well, it doesn't bother. I'm not fazed by it. Yeah. But probably more so nowadays. People say judgmental. People, especially on Facebook and Instagram, and thinking, really?
I was reading a thing this morning. I don't know do you follow the UFC?
Sometimes, and I'm not right into it. But.
Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champ, Kiwi guy, quite a character and unbelievable fighter, so skillful, and had a massive rise through the ranks, has beaten a lot of top guys, and currently sits undefeated as the champion there. And he just won New Zealand Sportsman of the Year. And in his speech, it went a little bit nuts on social media. He's talking about tall poppy syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
And how people love to really chop down someone who's doing well. And if they're happy, they can see that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are unhappy in their own lives.
Well, I think that's 99% of the people that write aren't happy with themselves.
100%. And it's almost self-reflection, if anything.
Well, it is. It is. And I look at someone and I think, okay, you return the role, or reverse the role, sorry, not return, reverse the role. Would you like to be written something like that to you? 100%. I don't think you would. Like, really, don't comment. If you don't like the person, and it's how often have we gone and you've judged someone straight away, which we're very quick to do sometimes, and then you've ended up meeting them and you go, what a really good person.
Yeah.
Like, that person is really nice.
100%.
And so many people are very quick to judge.
Yeah.
And I sometimes, and that's the only thing I hate about it. Not that I get, because I don't put myself out there too much to do that, because I'd respond pretty quickly, I think. But sometimes you get it, and I wear it.
Yeah.
Someone like Marjay, and God love him, couldn't meet a nicer bloke.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a nice guy, but he gets hammered with that sort of stuff. But he puts himself out there a little bit.
Yeah.
But he just does it because he knows.
You've got to have a thick skin to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you've got to be confident enough that you're being true in yourself.
Well, I remember talking to Wayne Bennett about this particular story years ago when he was here coaching the Dragons, and we were having a real good chat because I said, how do you cope with all the negativity? Like, how do you cope? And I think at that stage, one of the players was getting smashed, on social media, and he goes, well, you just got to learn, just blot it out. He said, at the end of the day, if those around you in your inner circle agree and are accepting and back what you do, that's the most important thing.
100%.
Someone walking down the street you don't know, who's going to comment and say, well, Wayne Bennett's a prime example. Everyone thinks he's this, but he's the totally opposite. He's one of the most caring humans you could ever walk past. And if he sat here now, he'd want to know, don't interview me, I'll interview you. He'll want to know more about you as a person than anything else. And he's got the most wicked sense of humour. He's so funny.
Yeah.
You know, and
which you wouldn't pick just looking at what's shown. And I think that's one of the real issues with perception.
Of course.
Is it's so easy to I think the older generation's probably more guilty of it. I know, like, my grandparents will call me. Nan called me the other week, don't get on the trains. Coronavirus is everywhere. I'm like, I'm not catching the train this week, Nan, but I reckon I'll be sweet. But they tend to believe what they see because for them, that's their only exposure. And for a lot of people, the media is their only exposure. And
it's true. And I always say, you know, I work for a great company. That's why the likes of myself and Crammy have been there for a long time. Marjay's been there for a long time. A lot of people behind the scenes have been there for a long time. We work for a great company.
Yeah.
Like, they're a family company.
So important.
Very supportive. You know, and they believe in what you do. Like, it's great. I always say, at the end of the day, Brad, it's a job. If it finishes tomorrow, they tap me on the shoulder and said, yeah, you're out, which happens in our business a lot because it's to do with ratings and we survive off that, and it's, you know, because it's a business. I've got no problem with that. Okay, I've had a great journey. It's time to do something else. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Move on.
That's life, isn't it?
It's how you get on the horse and start riding. Like, it's at the end of the day, you've got to accept it. Sometimes, you know, you've got to be able to tell your kids or whatever that you're going to win some, you're going to lose some.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always say, I say to my young bloke who's 18 now, but he made a rep side one year, and then the next year he thought he was going to waltz into the rep side, and he didn't make it. And I remember sitting in a car with him in Yass, because that's where he had to go and to try and get into this rep side, and he sat there and he got upset. He was emotionally upset, and I let him go. I didn't say anything, and then I just said, "It hurts, doesn't it?" And he went, "Yeah, Dad, it does." I said, "Do you think you're a shoo-in?" He goes, "Yeah, I did." I said, "No, never think that."
Yeah.
Said, once you're in the side, you've got to work harder to stay in the side. And I said, "But don't forget it." I said, the likes of, and I just mentioned Trent Merrin at the time. I said, look at someone like Trent Merrin. I mean, he's playing State of Origin, playing for his country, and then all of a sudden he's not playing anymore. They're not picking him, not even looking at him. His name's not there. But he never gives up. And then 2-3 years later, he's back in that State of Origin side.
Yeah.
Because he's had a go. He's thought about it. He thought, how do I get better? How do I work? And, you know, he might have kept it to himself or whatever. I said, you look at someone like that. And anyway, Jackson, of course, never gave up. And, you know, he had good coaches around him too, and he had great players around him that, you know, they were a great team, magnificent team. And now, you know, I look at him now and say, well, okay, you're the captain of the under-19s Australian Oztag side. You only got that. You didn't get that because of me or your mum or your sister or your uncle and auntie. You got that because you knew what it was like to miss out, but you've worked extremely hard and shown people that you're gonna and you want to get there. I said, and that's good. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I
think it's why we all love an underdog story, right?
Well, of course you do.
Because we've all experienced losing at some point. And it's hard to take when you've not experienced it. Like, I used to be a good runner growing up. I remember the first time I lost. I didn't know what to feel because you're so used to winning all the time. But then I remember leaving there thinking, I don't like that feeling. I'm going to do everything to know that next time, if I lose, I lost, putting in 100%.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's a quote that I love, and it's like, if you're scared of losing, you've already lost. You're going to lose at some point in your life.
Of course you are.
And I think quite often the fear of being beaten stops you from doing things that you're attracted to or want to achieve. For me with this, there's an element of fear that, you know, on the other side of it, everyone would go, what's this guy doing? This is garbage. But I've been so lucky that if I didn't put myself out there because I was worried, I've had an amazing response from the first, especially from the community. And that's when you just got to put yourself out there. You can't be scared of losing. You just got to have a crack. We spoke about it before.
And you do. And everyone has a story. Whether you've got a story, I've got a story.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, Joe Blow walking down the street's got a story. Everyone, whether they've failed, they've won at certain things. We go for jobs, and sometimes you miss out. Go, okay, well, it wasn't the right one. And I've said that also to my daughter with certain things that she's gone for, and so it's not your turn. It's not your turn.
You just learn, don't you?
You think, okay, don't give up.
Yeah.
Think, okay, well, I'll have that in my dream and think about it. And, and like I said, I've been very lucky here. I've worked with I work with great people. I work with a great team around me that I always said, especially the last team that we've had with myself, Crammy and Christy, and I said, if you don't accept each other's faults, I will want to do the show a certain way, Crammy will want to do the show a certain way, and Christy will probably want to do the show. But certain things when we sit around and talk about when we plan the show and what we're going to do, if Grammy's passionate about something, well, I'll back you.
Yeah.
You'll get my full support. Where if I go fight against him, well, it's never going to work.
100%.
It's never going to work. And I said, if you believe in it, mate, you do it. Certain things that I do, I want to concentrate on a certain subject. Well, we do that. And that's, I think, why for us it works so well and we can rate so well. But at the end of the day, I just say it's just a job. It's another job, but it's just probably got a bit more profile behind it.
And so tell me, like, for you sitting behind the mic every morning, Monday to Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, I just work Monday to Friday, yeah.
What do you love about it? Is it that connection? And tell me...
I love because I work 4 hours a day.
That's amazing.
There's
a lot more work that goes in behind the scenes,
There's a lot of work. I don't know. You know what? I can't... I've been asked that question quite a bit. I do enjoy the job, and like I said, I enjoy... when you work for a great company, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
You want to go to work and you've got full support, or I don't know why.
Just feels right.
I must admit, if I had to, we get in the office at 5 a.m. I'm out of there by 10:30. I might leave. Sometimes I might stay till midday. Very rare. I like to get out because that's you want to get out and watch what your listeners are doing.
Yeah, 100%.
You're stuck in an office. I'm not going to. And then by the time, the way you used to prep a show has changed dramatically because of the way social media is and the internet. So you're not having one news bulletin a day that was at 6 o'clock. Win News is at 6 and that's all you've got. Now there's news and there's news updates.
Because it breaks first on the phone before it breaks on
so by the time we get back on air, everyone's heard it 30,000 times and it's boring.
Yeah.
So we tend to do our research probably before I go to bed. I just have a look at the internet, see what's going on, or what's filtering, what's making us. Might shoot a message to ourselves. We've got our own little message. To Hannah, our producer, can you just look at this tomorrow morning? Remind me of this, or whatever, or Crammy might throw a, hey guys, remind me of this. Yeah. So but I love it because I don't know. I suppose you make a little bit of a difference. I put a smile on someone's face. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't try and be funny. I just do it as a job. That's just yourself. Me. I like talking to people. I like it. You like it too.
Yeah.
I enjoy people's company. But then again, I also like my own time. Like when I go trucking and I go away, I got a trip coming up in a couple of weeks. We go to the middle of Victoria, where I'll sit in the cabin of that truck for 10 hours. That's a drive, but I love it. I'm in my own world. No one's bothering me.
Yeah. You need your own time.
And I'm away with mates. And then again, I love going to my little caravan with my wife and my kids. And we have a ball. I go down there.
The Carberries speak very highly of you too.
Oh, do the Carberries?
So
the Carberries.
Godparents of ours.
Yeah, great people.
Yeah, we're chatting.
And you know what? As soon as that boom gate goes into that caravan park, no one cares what you do, how much you earn, what you drive. No one cares. You're all on a level playing field, and I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. I just love that. And once again, I admire people that have had great success. It doesn't matter what they do. They can have success, money, or they can have success with doing what they love doing. You might be a bricklayer, but you love laying bricks. And
happiness is the key.
I said, good on you. That's great to see. I really admire that.
100%. One thing that I love looking back on, I think if you look at radio as a subtopic, obviously you've got little parts of those morning shows that happen. One thing that I always enjoyed were the crazy calls.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a highlight one looking back? And if you haven't heard the crazy calls or understood what they are, basically prank call.
You ring someone
on the radio.
You can't do it. You can't do it as much these days because everyone with your phone, the number pops up.
Yeah.
So if I was to do one on you, Brad, and you missed the call, Then they call back to the radio station. The on-air announcer who's on in might pick it up and go, "Oh, 98." Yeah, I had to be. It's a lot harder to do, and with all the drama that happened with the nurse overseas, with that prank call, I would have done the prank call myself too. Exactly the same thing. What those young guys had done. They were crucified over that, which I thought was wrong, but that was just how it was. That was life, I suppose. And I loved doing them. I still got every one of them. I've saved every one of them. I did release 2 Crazy Call albums in Canberra, which had great success. Yeah, did really well out of that. It was good to do that. And it's funny, my daughter only listened to a couple the other day because she went, "What, do you do this?" Yeah, and she laughed. There were some great ones.
I still remember the story circulates, the friend group of the Carberries and my old man and Darryl Fritz.
Oh, Darryl Fritz, who owns Ep005 at Bulli and Corrimal. Now, he had this slushy machine, so I rang him to say that the kids at the school, they used to go into schools, I think, the slushy machines.
Yeah.
So I rang him saying that kids had been rushed to hospital because of whatever was in the slushy machine. And all he could come back with was, "Oh my God. Oh my God." I couldn't tell you how many times he said, "Oh my God."
He's the nicest bloke.
Great bloke. Fritzy played with the Steelers and a great footballer in his day. Champion bloke. But I just absolutely... that was a funny one. That was a great one. And there were so many... It's hard to really pinpoint one.
Yeah.
But there were some really good ones. One was a guy I worked with was renovating, and I got his wife. And she said, "Oh, what are you doing in the house?" I said, "Oh, David's giving me the key." And they had a pussy cat, and I was yelling at the cat to get back inside, but she was talking off, "This guy's yelling at my cat," just the way, because I keep yelling out, "Pussy, pussy," screaming at the top of my voice. But just her reaction to me screaming at her cat, because she was not impressed with. But there was, I had a bloke here in Wollongong. He was importing parts for a car he had.
Yeah.
And I got him. I rang and they said he's just left the office. And I went, "Oh no." I said, "Okay, what's he wearing?" And they said, "Oh, he's wearing this." I said, "Tell me what he's wearing." And they told me what he'd had on, a dark blue shirt with jeans, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Where is he?" So I was around in Kira Street. I went, "Okay, no worries." So I've rung and I said, I'm a police officer. Personality police officer, you can't do these days. So I rang and he goes, "What?" And I said, "You in Kira Street?" He went, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, we're watching you." I didn't know. And I go, "Are you wearing the blue shirt, blah, blah, blah?" And he goes, "Yeah." So get out on your knees. I said, "Because we've got cars, we're about to come in, I want to set the place." And he did, he got down on his knees, but his other mates around him knew what was going on, knew it was me.
Yeah.
So he's down on his knees, put your hand in the air. I had him doing everything I asked him to do. It was hilarious. His reaction was great. It's the reaction that, and I got done too.
Yeah.
My wife got me just before I got married. She nailed me absolutely big time. And so they were funny.
How did that taste?
She got me. She's planted because Kylie lived in Sydney and I lived in Canberra, so I commute home on weekends. And then she's just said to me one day, "Oh, I bumped into Lee," which is my ex-partner. I went, "Oh, how's she going? What's she doing?" She says, "Oh, yeah, she's pretty good." And it left it at that, right? And then I didn't think any more of it. And then she rang me this day to get me on a crazy call, of course. And I've gone through, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're recording at Triple M in Sydney, right? And I'm in the radio station, sister radio station in Canberra. And then she says, "Oh," I said, "What are you up to?" She says, "No, not in a good mood, blah, blah, blah." Eventually she came out and said, "Oh, I bumped into Lee today." And I was supposed to go there for 2 weeks holiday.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, Lee told me that she can't catch up for lunch next week." I was like, "What?" I said, I haven't spoken to her for years. So you can imagine me, I'm backpedaling. I'm like a lobster, go woo, woo, woo. And she was into me.
Yeah.
And I started getting aggressive because I wasn't going to back down. And then then she told me, it was all a joke. And I threw the phone. I got the phone, I just threw it. And then I turned around and everyone at the radio station was watching. That was all good. So that was their wedding present.
Yeah, wow.
But they were good. They were good at the time. We were only talking the other day, just having a chat in our office, and someone said, "Why didn't you bring him back? Why didn't you bring him back?" Just replay, but a lot of loopholes you got to go through these days.
It's hard now, isn't it? It's so hard not to touch it. It's just you touch that one nerve.
I know, and yet, I would never put one to air if the person said no, because you had to ask permission. So if I did one on you and you said, no, I'm not feel comfortable with it, I'd keep it. I would never air. And then they'd ring you 3 days later and go, oh, can I get a copy? And I'd go, not until that goes to air.
Yeah.
I'm not letting that go, no way.
Yeah.
Right? Until that goes to air. And they go, yeah, let it go.
Yeah.
So you play it and then you give them a copy, of course.
Yeah.
But then others said, no, I don't want to play it. So I wouldn't play it for I wouldn't do that to embarrass them. Some stuff, some people would like that sort of sense of humour.
Yeah.
Others don't. But it was a big hit. It was a big hit in this town.
Oh, definitely.
And it was massive in Canberra. Yeah. And they do it all over. They were doing it everywhere,
Yeah. Just your take on it.
But it was my style and how I did it. And my wife would laugh because she'd hear me go, you went through 4 different languages during that crazy call. Because I'd turn the mic off and start laughing.
Yeah.
So and I was into them when they're firing up. I'd turn the microphone and start laughing. And
you'd have to.
Okay, shit. What voice was I in? I couldn't remember what voice it was in. So I started off in Indian and I'd end up in Vietnamese voice. I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good.
Funny
a lot of
looking back
fun.
on it.
A lot of fun.
You know who toes the line? Majorly toes the line? Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, he does. And it's funny, I think with comedy...
I enjoy it.
Oh, so do I. With comedy, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
You really can get away
it's
with...
not as communal, is it?
No. And it's not. And they don't care.
Yeah.
We see a lot of broadcasters in Australia that they'll just have a crack at that.
Yeah.
But they're known to do it. So they just let go. They let go. And he is good with that sort of stuff. He's funny.
So funny. I think he's a listener of the show. So
oh, he's watching now.
Shout out,
hey, Ricky. Cheers, big fella. Yeah.
No, amazing. So is there anything, like for you looking on to 2020, we're 2 months into the year, is there anything for you that you wanted to achieve this year that, like I sat down at the start of the year and for me this year was about authenticity and everything I've done. I think that's so important and I just want to be happy and healthy this year. Is there anything for you sat down at the start of the year? I think because you are a personality in the community, sometimes people forget you're a human too.
Oh yeah, you're probably more a human. You're right, that's true. And I never look at myself as that celebrity or personality or...
You're extremely humble.
It's funny when people go, I missed Illawarra or whatever. It doesn't sit well with me. I don't actually like it. I think, no, I'm not. I'm just Marty. I just work. This is my job. This is what and I say to some people, how long have you got left? Oh, well, hold on. We'll ask that. Someone in the steelworks has been there for 30 odd years. I've only been there 18.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a job and you can't please everyone. Like, not everyone would drink water. Some might like a beer or, you like wearing those sort of jeans and no, I don't like. But you see, you're not going to please everyone.
That's it.
We just try and be down the road and hopefully please as many as we can because at the end of the day, we survive on ratings. And if they survey 1,000 people out of 400,000 that live in this region, that determines your career. Like that's it. That's how it works. So for this year, I don't know. I've got a couple of things happening outside of work that I've got to focus on, which is all personal stuff, not another job or anything, Yeah. So that's going to be. My wife's away a lot with her business, so she travels a lot. But I support that fully because the kids now are at an age where young bloke started an apprenticeship as a carpenter, and my daughter works. She's got a nice job in Sydney, but they all come back. Well, she comes back weekends. So does my wife. She's not gone away most of the week, but I don't know what I got planned. I suppose I'm not going to do as many. I don't do the Dragons emceeing, grand announcing anymore. I just wanted a bit of time to myself.
Yeah, you need it. It's important.
Yeah, it is. And I just wanted to... It's time for someone else to take over the reins and have a go at that. I actually like my weekends now. I enjoy... Because, I would be working one night of the week, whether it was Friday or Saturday or Sunday. I try not to do as much anymore. I just want a bit of downtime.
Yeah.
I like playing in touch football on a Sunday morning with a group of mates.
Couple of goose steps in there or what?
I don't know about that. And once I make a break, I start looking for someone to support me. I'm not fast. But I look at stuff like that and think, okay, I still do hosting jobs, but this year is just, I don't know, I wouldn't say pull back. I'm enjoying life. I love where I live. I've got a good group of people around me that support me, and
Yeah.
you know, I love watching the kids grow up. That means a lot, just watching them and how they're going. There's, you know, I'm a very proud dad, and I know Kylie's very proud as well. I'm proud of what she does. You know, she works in a very tough industry.
What does she do?
She works in events, so she runs a lot of events, sporting events.
Yeah, okay.
So she looks after a lot of the NRL stuff, you know, grand final and state of origin, and she's doing the cricket, does all the cricket.
Yeah, wow. That'd be an exciting job.
Yeah. It is exciting.
Full on,
it's massive hours. Like before the
Yeah.
grand final, she'll work an average 100 hours a week in September to get it all together. Yeah, it's big. But she works with a great team too.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a great group of people around her, and she's got an incredible mind. She just thinks outside the box.
Yeah.
She's just that sort, and just a worker. She just works. But she travels the world doing it. You know, she was in Singapore recently for Brazil soccer. You know, for a Brazil game against. Well, they played a friendly.
That's unbelievable.
So they employed her to go over and run it, make sure everything works, and
Yeah, wow.
yeah, she puts it all together. She loves it. So so it's all good, mate. So life's going very good. I'm very blessed, and
100%.
I look at.
It's funny you said some of the gigs that you host. Actually, the first time that I met you was, I don't even know if you'd remember. It would have been 2017, maybe 2016, 2017. I competed in the novice auctioneer competition.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jake McKenzie, good mate of mine at MMJ North, Jake competed too, and he bloody nipped me. He got me.
I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah. I really like that, because I do that because they raise a bit of money. They raise a bit of money for domestic violence, which is sad we've got to do it these days, but we do. And also Convoy. And I always go and do that. It's not a paid gig. I do it because they're helping us. But I always find that really, really good watching
people. It's good fun.
Well, you know, it's very daunting to get up there and in front of your peers who are, you know, some are
Especially when one of your mates gets you.
You would have paid someone. You paid the judge.
Yeah.
I know, Jake.
I was filthy after that, and I messaged him and I was like, bloody hell. Of all people to beat me, it was you. But Jake's amazing. He's a great bloke, great auctioneer. But I give props to them for that event. I think and I love it. It's funny, like, I met Cremmy recently at a similar event at a property council trivia night, and had a chat to him for the first time. And he's a funny human.
Cremmy's got most a creative mind. Like sometimes I think, where did that come up? Where did you get that from? Like, where did you pluck that? I mean, we work well together. We're very different. You know, he's very quiet. He just likes to sit down and have a beer and a hamburger. Yeah, and I do too. I like that too. And there's no ego about him. He's just really down to earth, and just, you know, he cruises along, and you know, he just, you know, said, likes his beer, and he loves his sport. You know, he loves his UFC. He loves his Dragons. He loves his Hawks. He likes all that. You know, and he's been there longer than me. He's been there, I think, 19 years. Him and I were only discussing it the other day. Marjo's there 20. He celebrated 20 last year. Cremy's there, been there nearly 20, but I think this year will be his 20th year. Yeah. So, yeah, stay there once again, working for a good company. So,
amazing. And
eventually, I hope, you know, I'm 55 this year. Not that, you know, people are still doing radio at 80. Yeah. Like, it's not as if it's not a physical job. It's just getting up at 4 o'clock every day. But
couple of coffees.
I have one coffee. But when you walk in, I always feel good and energised, and I don't mind getting up early. Yeah. But he's a great bloke. He's very creative. He's very good at what he does.
Definitely. One question I've got before we finish off
here
today is not a stitch up or anything like that, but I'm 23 years of age now. I'm 24 this year, and I'd like to think I've got it figured out. And one thing I want to make, I definitely don't, but one thing I definitely want to make a habit of asking my guests, because I've got so many people coming on this from different walks of life, is if Marty was 23 again, is there something you wish you knew?
Buying a house.
Yeah.
I always got drummed in and I didn't buy it till, I don't know, 28, 29. If something I knew, well, it's changed so much because everything you guys do, I think patience is a big thing. But patience is something I have learnt a lot, particularly with some of the people that are around me over the last couple of years that have had massive and great success, and they're very patient with doing things. And I think today you want everything now. I've got to have it now. Well, no, not necessarily. Yeah. And I only said this to my kids recently. My kids said, what would you rather grow up now or when you grew up? And I said, when I grew up. I said, I think we're mentally tougher.
Yeah.
You kids, so but you've got a lot more going on up there too, because everything's so accessible, and we had to wait. So if I took a photo of you and I took a photo on that camera, we couldn't go and check it.
Yeah.
We'd have to wait 4 weeks for it to come into the little, because we have to put the film in for it to come in. You know, if you wanted to go and see your best mate after school, you couldn't ring. You got on your push bike and rode 20 minutes to their place, hoping he was saying, "Oh no, Scotty's over there at Craig's place." Oh, I'll have to go to Craig's place. So you get a lot of stuff out of your head.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things is, and I trying to teach this in not so much in both my kids, is patience. It'll come, but just let it come. It's have a dream, write everything down what you want to do, and I've always said that. I always say to have a storyboard.
Yeah.
You know, like there was one particular vehicle that I wanted to buy. It took me 10 years, but I had a photo of it, and I knew that's one, and I've now got
Something
that
to work
car.
towards.
Exactly, and I knew I wanted that car, and I wanted that car. That car eventually come to me.
Yeah.
And because I love my cars, and I ended up getting that car that I wanted. I always just wanted one. But I'm saying, if I was to say someone who's 23, it's patience.
Yeah, and I read an amazing thing once again, Gary V. The other day, he put a photo up, and it was patience, and it had a full stop, and it basically said, the faster you want something, the more vulnerable you are. Yeah. And it's so true.
And then when you get it, what do? Oh,
you don't appreciate it.
Exactly. Where if you know you got to work at it, you think, okay, I want to, in 10 years' time, I don't know, I want to live on land. So, okay, well, I've just got to work at that to eventually get that picture.
And I think for me, looking at it, and I'm trying to correct it in myself, that there are things that I've really wanted in the past 5 years, and when you get there and you realise it's not exactly what it was cracked up to be, you realise that the more superficial it is, the less satisfaction you get. And you're happy to be patient if the process is something that makes you happy.
Of course.
That's the most important thing.
Getting there.
I think the journey should actually be like, we all say life is short, and it is, but you shouldn't be wishing time away if you're actually happy within the process to getting what you want. So it's I think your career is a great testament to that. And
it's taken a long time. It's patience. I've just cruised along. You know, I could have probably gone back into Sydney and done it up there, but I enjoyed living here. I loved being part of this community. You know,
it's a beautiful spot.
It's a great place to live. My kids love it. My wife loves it. But you say, you know, you got to just wait. And I try and say that to my daughter. It's just patience. You know, she's very eager, very keen. She's very driven. I just keep saying to her, you know, it's a patience game.
Patience is power,
Yeah, it is. It's so true, mate. And you look at those that have had great success, they've never done it overnight.
No, definitely not.
And if they have done it overnight, they haven't lasted. Very rare that someone will last at that level. They've just worked, whether it's a band, whether it's an actor. I said to my daughter, Jackie Weaver was a prime example. And I met her one day, and Taylor was introduced, and you know, that stage she was thought about acting, and I said, that lady has taken 50 years to get to Hollywood. Yeah. Before she got a role in Hollywood, 50 years. Yeah. But I said, you know what? She never gave up. Yeah. She never gave up. She did what she loved, 100%. And just had that patience. And eventually, she did that movie with Robert De Niro, and then she got for an Oscar. She missed out, but I said she never gave up. Yeah. But that's just now open. She probably looks back at it and goes, well, I've had a magnificent career. 100%. But at the end of the day, you've only got to please yourself. You know, you've got to make sure that you're happy with what you've done. Definitely. You know, and there's not everything you're going to do you're going to be overly happy with, but, you know, look what you're doing. You're doing this because you love doing it. Yeah. You love talking to people. Yeah, I get a kick out of it. And you do. The morning I wake up and I know I'm shooting one of these, I'm pumped. And the more people you have, and I say to mine, you know, probably drag on a little bit about it, the more great people you have around you that are positive, the better you learn and just take little things out of them. Like, you know, patience is one thing I've really learned from one particular guy that's really close to me. I just watch him and go, wow. Like, instead of jumping at something, he just sits back and, no, it should be right. Yeah. Really? But you want that. It'll be right. 9 times out of 10, they get it. It comes. It might not come in Next week it comes in 6 months' time.
Definitely.
Is that just that cool? Just sit back and wait and watch. It's good. Yeah.
Unreal.
But yeah, you're doing a good job, mate.
I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for having us along.
Thank you for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, Marty Haynes. If you're driving on the way to work in the morning and you're not listening to the podcast,
yeah, what are you doing?
Tune into I-98 FM as well and listen to these guys. They're all good humans. So appreciate you tuning in. Catch you at the next one.